afternoon. This is the Town of Riverhead Planning Board. Today is Thursday, March 17th, 2022. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, today we're going to start with our discussion items. The first item up is 1792 Middle Road, Breezy Hill Group, and that is going to be with Greg.
We've got Jeffrey Seaman.
Oh, he's, okay, well.
Good afternoon, board members. Jeff Seaman. The final environmental impact statement has been submitted to you, I believe, through the planning department. I'm here to help answer any questions regarding both the FEIS or the next steps in the process.
I would like to start off and say that I think that you did a fantastic job. There was a lot of requirements that were never met. You were very good in listing all of your findings or lack of findings that was requested by this board to the applicant. And I do not have any questions. I think that you did that good of a job.
Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank staff for their participation in the process. It was a good deal of information to try to digest, both through the hearing process and the responses that we had received to many of the questions that the board had. And I think that is a good sign of a great interaction between the curiosity and questions regarding this application that the board presented, the responses that we got, and then the final assembly of the FEIS. So the next steps in this process, after the FEIS, if it is adopted this afternoon, would be distributed back to the different involved agencies. That would include New York State DEC, the Health Department, and I don't know, Greg, were there any other involved agencies? Highway Department, I think, had already issued a permit as part of the clarification for the curb cut. It will also be available to the public on the town's website and through the town clerk's office, the planning department, and normally the library in written format if they do not have access to the internet. There's a minimum 10-day review period after its adoption before a finding statement is prepared. So there's time between, I suppose, after today, even, well, I think Wednesday is the notice date for announcement that an FEIS has been adopted, and it's placed in the environmental news bulletin, so it's a statewide circulation to make everyone available, or put everyone on notice that the document is available. So after a 10-day period, or minimum, a finding statement will be prepared by this board. Once that is adopted, then you move forward with the next steps.
Is there a time restriction between for the adoption of the finding statement?
Well, there's no time restrictions after the finding statement, but each involved agency issues its own finding statement. So the 10-day period is really to give them an opportunity to take a look at the FEIS. So your lead agency, you'll adopt a finding statement. New York State will adopt its finding statement. There are times when they coincide with each other, other times they may disagree with each other, but we'll deal with that as we receive that information from the other agencies. If they provide no response at all, normally we would reach out to them by email or by letter just to confirm that they have received it. They were given an opportunity to prepare their own finding statement, and they really should do that and provide that back to you as the lead agency.
And then we would adopt the finding statement?
Then you would have a meeting to adopt the finding statement.
And
yes.
then, after that, they would move into site plan?
Yes, well, it depends. In a finding statement, you have two avenues. It is either a positive finding statement, meaning the project has no environmental adverse impacts, or all those have been either mitigated or, reduced to the most practical extent possible, or avoided entirely. That is a result of a finding statement. If it's positive, then you move on to site plan review. When a finding statement is what we call a negative finding statement, one that has determined that the project has not met the environmental mitigation standards, secret does not allow you to make a decision. So you're not allowed to make a decision to approve. No action. You couldn't approve funding, you couldn't approve site plan, you couldn't approve next steps in the application. But we're not there yet, so we'll see what happens.
I have nothing further.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Long Island Cauliflower Association Commercial Center.
Chair want to be heard?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Work session,
It's
can the
okay.
applicant be heard?
I don't see why he couldn't come up.
Good afternoon, thank you for allowing me to speak. It's Chick Voorhees of Nelson Cope Voorhees on behalf of the applicant. I have not seen the FEIS. I did just want to indicate that we do object to proceeding in the fashion that has occurred. We feel that there has not been really an exchange or an opportunity to participate in any way in the FEIS. We do recognize that it is this board's responsibility to prepare the FEIS, and so you can proceed in that regard. But it's a little bit atypical, and the process has been a little bit atypical for this project. We know it's a difficult project. I do want to say that it is a permitted use in this zone. We provided all of the information that was requested. We expanded noise studies, traffic studies, cleaned up the site, tested the well, determined that the well is suitable for use of potable water, and analyzed everything that was requested. So I have not seen the FEIS at this point. I imagine if you proceed today, I will. I would ask if you could keep the comment period open for 30 days on the FEIS so that the material can be digested. And we'll review it with our team and look to provide any information we can to complete the process. We have a site plan reviewed by the town engineer and the health department. We know that we're going to DEC under environmental justice in Part 360. We've provided you with all of that information. And I just wanted to make a brief statement on behalf of the applicant so that that's understood. Thank you.
What is the permitted use that you say is,
This was determined and is all part of the record, but
Yeah.
the permitted use is for the crushing operation that's proposed.
how is it a permitted use?
It was determined through legal action that preceded my involvement, but all of that information is in the environmental impact statement.
Yeah, it went through the ZBA. They went through the ZBA twice. It was a
What is
determination,
Is
and
it
then
a
it was a...
retail use or a wholesale use? What is
It
the-
did, the ZBA didn't render anything on the wholesale or retail. It was just on the crushing and processing.
Right. Well, wouldn't that be a critical part of it?
Would be.
I know, but he just addressed it now, so, okay.
It's part of the record, so it'll be incorporated into the FEIS as part of the DEIS. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you, Rob. 30 days. See the public within 30 days.
Okay, let's move on to Long Island Cauliflower Association Commercial Center with Greg.
Yes. So we've got an update on the Long Island Cauliflower Association Commercial Center project, which is a site plan application to redevelop a 7-acre parcel on the northwest corner of Mill Road and Old Country Road. Site plan currently proposes a total of 4 standalone buildings. 3 of them will be fast food restaurants with drive-throughs, and the 4th pad site on the north end of the building will be a traditional sit-down restaurant. We had been waiting to make a secret determination on this application, because I had identified through the EAF that there was the potentially significant impacts to the traffic intersection, the signalized intersection on Mill Road, shared with the Riverhead Center, the Home Depot shopping center on the east side. The applicant had prepared a traffic impact statement. I believe they submitted it, and it was dated December 2021, prepared by Nelson and Pope. That traffic impact statement analyzed the proposed development and did recommend the installation of a northbound left turning lane into the Cauliflower Association site with a stack length of 100 feet. The applicant has prepared and submitted revised drawings that do show that traffic mitigation at that signalized intersection, and they will be redoing the signal as well. So at this point, that was really the only significant environmental impact. They've demonstrated mitigation on that, so we will do have a resolution to issue a negative declaration, as the applicant has effectively mitigated any negative impacts. There has been a couple of other, say, minor changes to the site plan. Initially, so you've got a Chick-fil-A proposed right on Old Country Road. Building number 2, just to the north of that, was originally a Dunkin' Donuts only. They're now proposing that to be a Dunkin' Donuts and Jimmy John's. They're going to share, 2 uses within the same building. They're both going to have drive-through windows. Now, this is something internal. If you're looking at the site, you've got the south side of the building will house the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through, and the north side of the building would host the Jimmy John's drive-through. In order for someone to get into the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through, they'd have to kind of come around the north side of the building. It just gets a little tight, in terms of the drive lane on the east side in front of that, so the applicant should really just widen that. Nothing major that couldn't be tweaked through minor revisions. They have tweaked the north end of the building. They previously had improvements in that required 50-foot non-disturbance buffer along the northern property boundary, because they share with the residential use. Right now, there's an existing row of trees that they are proposing to keep that will be undisturbed.
Excuse me, Greg, I want to talk to you about that. It says existing woodland to remain. Calling that a woodland is very generous. Now, I see they're putting a masonry retaining wall. Do we know how high that is?
So the wall will range in height. So at the northern elevation, you've got the bottom of curb is at 34.75. The top of the wall will be at 38, so it's about 3.5 feet difference from there. And then as you go towards the northern property boundary, the height, the elevation's at about 39.5 to 35.5.
Yeah, I think instead of the existing woodland, I think we'd be better off berming that section of property between the wall and the neighbors and planting it with evergreens.
So they do propose, the landscaping plan does propose a row of evergreens on top of that retaining wall, on that retaining wall. So that will add some additional height to it. Are you proposing to remove, you say to remove those trees at the northern property boundary and then berm it?
I think the property should be bermed between the wall and the property line and then planted, because
I don't think you should get rid of the trees.
if you look there, there's no buffer between this property and that property.
It is a minimal buffer. I did on page 4 of my staff report. I did take a picture of it. It's not, I've seen less substantial vegetative buffers. Again, it's not a forest.
Yeah.
But to remove that, I don't think would really, it would be the board's
Well, then we're
discretion,
gonna
but
have to
I
have
don't see that
some other
removing.
existing some other new plantings in there too, because, they didn't want to build a sound wall to separate themselves from the neighbors, so we said come up with an alternative, but I still think this is a little short. of what I would consider to be a good neighbor. That's just my opinion. But if you go by there and look, maybe in the summertime when trees are green, the top is covered, but you're gonna still see, right through from one property to the other. And I think it'll really affect the quality of life for those folks in those homes there.
We had that problem several years ago with Costco.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
What, with the removal of the vegetation?
Well, they removed everything,
Yeah.
and that's when the trouble started.
Right, there's no density in the trees
No.
that are there,
No.
so that's not,
So, I mean, it is an existing, I mean, is this something, would the board like to see this addressed prior to moving for a public hearing? Or would the board like to get the weigh in on
I
some of those
personally don't
residents?
mind moving forward with a public hearing, that's fine, but we do have to tell the applicant, at least some of us feel that this is inferior. But it shouldn't hold up the public hearing. So what do you want to do?
The question with regard to the Chick-fil-A,
There's a
they
two-foot
show
wall
three
here, and
lanes,
then curve it, and then plant.
traffic going in there.
Correct.
How do they all get paid to get their food?
So Chick-fil-A, I mean, other Chick-fil-A restaurants, they'll actually have order takers standing out in those drive-through lanes, and they'll have little iPads. They'll take your order, you can either pay with
Oh, I
a
see,
credit card.
in other words, they don't call it in.
No, it's drive-through, you order, there is like a traditional speaker box where you place an order, but most times during high traffic times, they'll actually have attendants out in the parking lot.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure out how 3 lanes are gonna go.
They do eventually get into one, so there is
Yeah,
one,
right.
there is
There's only
there is
one way out,
pickup
right.
window.
Okay, so they have someone that'll take their orders, and then they wait for it to come out.
Yeah, I mean, the other Chick-fil-A sites that I've been to on the island, I mean, they manage their traffic flow very well. They will reconfigure the parking lot. I did see a correspondence that was sent to the town board regarding this project, and there was concerns about traffic backing up into Mill Road. Given the layout of the site, knowing that Chick-fil-A handles their traffic very well, I would anticipate if there was ever a situation where they're exceeding 39 cars in the drive-through, I would assume, and we can clarify with the applicant, and it's something that we can address, but I would see that they would probably have people travel down south in front of that restaurant and loop back up. So there would be additional queuing room, so it wouldn't necessarily back up into Mill Road. I don't see it backing up into any
They're
public
just gonna,
rights of way.
are they gonna widen that section of 58?
So they're not gonna widen it, they are gonna restripe it. Right now, the northbound traffic is a straight through lane and a right turn lane, and there's like a striped area to the left of that. It's
I'm
almost,
thinking of the entrance off of 58 that they have.
they are gonna have there's a little, off of 58, there is a little turn off lane.
Because I go to Panera Bread quite often, and that backs up almost to Mill Road from the light at Panera. And then you're gonna have an entrance right next to that for the Chick-fil-A.
I mean, so the Panera, the Commerce Drive intersection is probably, it's probably a good
I know how far it
250.
is, but I'm saying that I'm being there myself, that it backs up from Commerce Drive almost up to Mill Road, when the Commerce Drive is red. And now you're gonna have another lane of cars, at least one lane of cars, to your right, to go into,
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you look, I mean, at sheet 2 that shows you the entrance off of Old Country Road, I mean, they're kind of gonna widen it, they're almost gonna make like a right exit ramp. So I mean, if someone's trying to get into the site here, I mean, they'll have,
it's gonna be a tough entrance, it really is.
I
well,
mean,
on Commerce Drive, you have to pretty much come to almost a stop in order to turn into the street. This, you're actually just going to merge into,
I just wanna make sure it's wide enough, that's all. That's why.
yeah, I mean, the plans were referred in, when this was initially the retail center, the plans were referred to DPW. They wanted that right in, right out only, so
Oh, yeah.
there will be no left turns from
Right.
Old Country Road into the site. But, this access off of 58 was designed to the Suffolk County DPW's requirements.
It'll be a tough entrance and exit onto 58. weeks ago, we had, the other application was going to use Chick-fil-A. So I asked them specifically, is Chick-fil-A?
No,
still-
no,
And
I
they said,
believe
oh, yeah, yeah.
that was previously Sonic.
Yeah, oh, Sonic, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you good? Okay. Let's move on now to Hoag Dental, which we have Heather. Yes.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Looking at this, and then at the end of it, you submitted 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
not a new application.
So we
Hi.
also have
Approved them.
Jim DeLuca here. He's the architect on the
Okay.
application as well. So this is an application to develop a vacant lot on Roanoke with a one-story medical office building, 2,225 square feet over an unfinished basement, just for mechanicals and storage for a dental office. It's located within the professional business district, business PZ zoning, PB zoning, and it's a permitted use as of right. They are going to be connecting to the Riverhead Water and Sewer Districts. We actually already received correspondence from the Water District. I have that in my staff report. We are still waiting on comments from the Sewer District. So the plans I forwarded over to you have all the sheets labeled. Let's see.
Is this the same plan from 2005?
Yes, if you look, it actually has the revision date, so it did change a little bit. I was taking a look at the old zoning board approvals. They no longer required the side yard setbacks, so they already went to the zoning board and were granted variances for the front yard setback, FAR, and then minimum lot size. It's an existing lot. There are lots similar in size to it that also have similar uses or residences converted to offices along Roanoke, so it wouldn't be out of character in the neighborhood.
I think they actually have an office right down the road currently.
Yeah, so I mean, it would be a nice upgrade for them, I think. Yeah, so and also the lot's already cleared. I went out there and, the pictures that are in my staff report, I took. There are a couple of large-sized trees. They are going to retain the trees that are going to be in that buffer, the 10-wide-foot buffer at the rear of the property. There's a significant amount of brush that's going to need to be cleared, but I don't think it's going to affect that residential lot. You can see I think there's a shed or a garage back there, but they're proposing evergreen plantings, which provides, and I think will be a nice screening. It complies with code as well. Any questions? They meet their parking requirements. Jim was kind enough to provide us with the proposed parking calculations. And they're showing 13 stalls, which is permitted for the use. And they only need one handicap stall, but they're providing two with an 8-foot aisle. Again, that complies with town code and ADA code.
So is that what you just said, they have an office already on Roanoke?
Yeah, just,
So what are they gonna do?
Just south.
Abandon that one and just move it to this new one?
I'm assuming.
Joanne, Jim DeLuca on behalf of
Yes.
Kaplan is here to answer any questions.
Hello, Mr. DeLuca.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, so are the Hoags going to be moving into this new building?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi,
Sharon Holmes.
Karen Hoag. Yes, the property that they're currently in, they do not own, they're tenants in. So this property that they own, and it would be constructing on.
And will it just
Makes
be
sense.
dental or,
Yes, for this particular project, yes, the plan is for it to be just dental.
okay. I do not have any questions. Yeah.
Yep, and just to note, in my staff report, I had made mention of that island in the front and the driveway widths, the single lane, one-way in and out. DPW actually, in their memo that they sent to us, we received it on Monday after I had compiled the staff report, they are no longer requiring that island, so that eliminates the need for any other variances. So they'll, yeah.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Good job, Heather. You made
Good
it
job,
through.
Heather. You look like a pro.
I didn't speak too fast, did I?
No, you did perfect. Okay, seeing that we have no public hearings today, we are going to move on to public comments on the resolutions. Is there anyone that would like to come up? Okay, let's move on to the resolutions.
I'll move resolution number 22 for Hoag Dental. So moved?
Second?
Moving second, vote. Aye.
Aye. I'll move resolution number 23, which is a CEQA for a site plan of the Long Island cauliflower.
Second the motion?
Negative depth.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next resolution.
I'll move resolution number 24 for Long Island Cauliflower Association Commercial Center for setting a public hearing on, I don't see the date, am I seeing it? Public hearing date? April 7th. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll move number 25, which is accepts the final environmental impact statement for Breezy Hill asphalt crushing.
Want to amend that to hold it open for 30 days at the applicant's request?
I agree.
Dick?
Yes.
Have a point of order.
Sure.
However the board chooses to act on the resolution is not up to my guidance, but there is no comment period on an FEIS. That period ended, I believe, on January 20th, and then we extended until January 31st, written comment period on the draft EIS. So there are no comments on FEISs.
I understand you're making a good point, but the applicant asked for 30 days. I personally don't have a problem with it. If there's no legal reason, we can't do it.
Well, there's no legal reason. You would have to table the resolution and not accept the FEIS, so I don't know how you distribute it.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read here from the SECRA handbook regarding final EISs. The question is there a comment period for final EISs? The answer is no. SECRA requires that the lead agency and all other involved agencies must wait for at least 10 days after the filing of the final EIS before making their findings and final decisions on the action. The period is not a comment period, but instead allows time for the involved agencies and any interested parties to consider the final EIS. While concerned parties or other agencies may comment in writing to the lead agency on the final EIS, the lead agency has no obligation to respond to comments on the final EIS.
We'll set the date for the document, the findings.
Okay, sorry, Chick.
Okay.
Council resolution, may I just say a word?
No, let's do it.
Yeah, we're
Got a
kind of in
motion
the
and
middle of a
second.
vote here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe moved it, I'll second it as written.
What is the date? Or is there a scheduled date for the findings?
No,
Oh, okay.
we didn't schedule it
Yeah,
yet.
I agree with everything Aaron and Jeff said. It's a gestation period, a lot of attorneys refer to it as, it's a waiting period. And it just gives, as Greg said, an opportunity for consideration. So that's all. As long as it's not being scheduled for the finding within 30 days, that would be fine. Sounds like that's unspecified at this time.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Vote please, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Any public comments on all matters? Seeing that there's no one, the meeting,
Motion to approve the minutes of March 3rd.
Second the motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Other business? correspondences?
Yeah, I have a question for,
You have a question?
I have a question for Jeff.
Jeff Seaman?
No, Jeff, Jeff, I wondered, I had sent you an email about the letter that
Are
we
we on the
received.
record or off the record now?
We're still on the record.
Okay.
You were still on the record.
We received a memo from the Recreation Committee that they want to make sure that all parties, including town board, planning board, when there are condominiums, that we receive the $3,000 per dwelling unit rec and park fees. There's been some inconsistency in the application of that over the last decades, plural. And in some cases, it was required, some cases it was not. Some cases, the planning board waived the recreation fees. And in fact, we are in litigation now on one application concerning the requirement of a park and recreation fee. So it's been hit and miss over the last few decades.
Didn't we get, we had litigation and...
We're currently in litigation, Sunken
That's
Pond.
current, okay.
Sunken Pond, so I don't
Yeah.
want to say anything more than that.
Okay. They claim there's about $1 million missing.
About 500,000.
That's a lot of improvements that could be made to parks.
Satellites, the planning board waived the fee.
They have the authority to do that?
Hmm?
The planning board has the authority to waive fees?
I'm not going to second guess the planning board decision. I was
Gotcha.
not, was not retained by the town at that time.
Okay, thank you. Our next meeting date is Thursday, April 7th, 2022 at 6 PM. So thank you very much, and everyone have a very happy Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving, it's St. Patrick's Day. I've got food on my mind today.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.